Though the Borg were a great power, conquering and assimilating thousands of worlds and species in their never-ending quest for perfection, the late 24th century saw a number of significant defeats and catastrophes, dealing a significant blow to their ranks and crippling their continued efforts for expansion. One such catastrophe came in the year 2373 when the Borg discovered an extra-dimensional realm they called Fluidic Space, and there found a new species whose physiology they described as the apex of biological evolution. Eager to add their biological and technological distinctiveness to their own, they sought to assimilate the aliens and prepared an invasion fleet. To break through the dimensional barrier, the Borg used a modulated graviton beam to create a quantum singularity, allowing them to pass through. The species they designated 8472 were the sole occupants of Fluidic Space, so when the Borg invaded their territory, they saw it as a contamination of their realm and set out to exterminate the threat. The Borg were unprepared to face the mighty armies of species 8472, as they had evolved to possess a great number of advantages, such as telepathy, great physical strength and size reaching 3 meters tall, did not require sleep, were able to survive in the vacuum of space, produced a biogenic field which made them nearly invisible to sensors, and possessed an immune system which destroyed any foreign substance that entered their body. This made them immune to assimilation and nanoprobes, the main weapons and tools of the Borg. If ever in close-range combat, species 8472 fought with their claws, lashing out in the hopes of merely making contact so their cells might infect the enemy and consume them from the inside. If captured or in terrible pain, without hope of rescue or recovery, species 8472 were even able to end their own lives by releasing a cellular toxin into their bloodstream. Their ships were organic beings, heavily armored and shielded, capable of warp speed and operated by a single pilot. The Borg were entirely outmatched in their first encounter, losing every ship they sent into Fluidic Space. But with species 8472 now aware of the Borg, they followed them into the Delta Quadrant and began waging an aggressive war of extermination against them. Unable to assimilate the species or its technology, the Borg could not adapt and proved completely incapable of effectively fighting back, taking massive casualties during the 6-month conflict, losing ships, planets, and even systems. Yet as the war intensified, the Federation starship Voyager entered Borg space. At first, they only hoped to pass through unnoticed, but soon found themselves in the middle of a war zone. In their first encounter with species 8472, they discovered 15 destroyed Borg cubes and a seemingly abandoned 8472 bioship. Sending an away team to investigate, they found that the Borg had been destroyed by a new species they could not identify, and set to examining the alien ship. However, the ship's pilot soon reappeared, injuring and nearly killing Ensign Harry Kim before they could beam back to Voyager. The creature then powered up its ship, firing at the Federation vessel before going to warp. Kes, a telepathic member of the Voyager crew, informed the captain that this new species was extremely hostile and bent on cleansing the galaxy of impure races. Janeway then set her crew to learning all they could in order to defend themselves against this new threat. In treating Harry Kim and examining the remains discovered at the battle site, Voyager's holographic doctor discovered a way to modify Borg nanoprobes so they might neutralize the infectious cells of their enemy. Janeway then took Voyager directly into a Borg system where they negotiated with the Hive Mind, offering to share their newly discovered technology to aid them in their fight against species 8472. In exchange, the captain asked that her ship and crew be allowed safe passage through Borg space. The offer was accepted, and for a time they worked together, creating weapons and defenses to use against their common foe. A Borg representative, designated 7 of 9, tertiary adjunct of Unimatrix 01, was even assigned to work on Voyager in a crew exchange which allowed their collaboration to be more productive. To safeguard against Borg treachery, Janeway refused to share all the details about their work and had the Doctor's program ready to be deleted, destroying the technology. Species 8472 then launched an attack against them, and so the Borg sacrificed their vessel, evacuating a small group to Voyager so they might escape and continue their work. 7 of 9 then stated that the loss of their ship changed the parameters of their deal, and Voyager must travel to the nearest Borg vessel, which was a 5-day journey deeper into Borg space. However, by this time, Captain Janeway had been placed in a medical coma after suffering injuries in a bioship attack, and so Commander Chakotay, Janeway's first officer, took command, refusing to alter course, thereby breaking their treaty with the Borg. Convinced that they could not risk the journey, fearing that the Borg would eventually break their agreement and assimilate the crew, Species 8472 then launched a massive attack in the center of Borg space, destroying over 4 million drones. And so 7 of 9 took desperate action, accessing Voyager's systems to open a rift and launch them into Fluidic Space. In this way, Voyager would have no choice but to defend themselves against attacking enemy ships. Captain Janeway then awoke, angered by Chakotay's decision to break their agreement, agreement, choosing to once again work with the Collective through their representative 7 of 9. With Voyager's weapons and shields modified with the new nanoprobe technology, they at last were able to defeat Species 8472, eliminating 4 of their ships. 7 of 9 then brought Voyager back to the Delta Quadrant, and they once again engaged the enemy, destroying another 13 bioships. Janeway then demanded they return to their realm, or else face further casualties. Defeated, the remaining bioships traveled back into fluidic space, ending the war with the Borg and Voyager crew victorious. With the war over, the Borg no longer required their Federation allies, and so 7 of 9 attacked them, attempting to assimilate their ship. Having anticipated this betrayal, Chakotay had set up a neural link with 7 of 9, an ability acquired during his time on a world populated by former Borg drones escaping the Collective. He used this link to distract and disrupt 7 of 9, just long enough for the Voyager crew to short out her station and knock her unconscious. Janeway then ordered the ship to continue its journey to the Alpha Quadrant, with 7 of 9 in their sickbay. In the aftermath of the Borg-Species 8472 war, a single member of the Fluidic Space species was left behind after their retreat. Trapped in the Delta Quadrant, the creature was pursued for months by Hirogen hunting parties, until encountering the Voyager crew, who captured it, hoping to return it to Fluidic Space. But 7 of 9, the former drone, now member of the Voyager crew, refused to allow it to escape, instead sending it to a Hirogen ship so it might be killed. In addition, when the Borg Rebellion began, and a number of drones regained some part of their individuality to fight against the Collective, the rebels spoke of possibly reaching out to Species 8472 so they might unite against their common enemy. Species 8472, shaken and greatly disturbed by the creation of nanoprobe warheads, became convinced humanity would one day enter fluidic space and exterminate them. And so they prepared an invasion force, building a replica of Starfleet headquarters on Earth and using their technology to assume human form so they might learn to mimic their enemy and plant their agents at the heart of Federation space. But the Voyager crew discovered this site, leading to negotiations and the understanding that Species 8472 was only ever trying to defend themselves, implying that the harsh words spoken during their initial encounter were merely words of war, spoken against what they perceived to be an invasion force threatening their very existence. They then agreed to a technology exchange, ending the hostilities between their species, at least temporarily, and so Species 8472 returned to fluidic space. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Nantine the Blackburned, Ewido of the Stranger's Blade, the Great Joff Bardsbane of the Legion of the Lakes, Tom Moonstruck Waters of the Company of the Cat, Wolf the Quarrelsome, Magic the Shaman, and Jampo the Mad. You all make these videos possible, and I am eternally grateful for your support. If you would like to help CivilizationEx and gain early access to videos, access to the Patreon-only series Heroes of Lore and Legend, and vote on future content to be produced, you can click on the Patreon link in the description box below and pledge any amount you'd like on a monthly basis. Or if you'd prefer to make a single donation, you can use the PayPal link also in the description below. And please be sure to like and subscribe and click on the links to see more.